Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Deaths, back with another Kamihime project video. I know it's been a long time, but there's been a lot of videos that I could have made, but they were just gonna repeat things I said in previous videos, so I apologize for that one. But this event is a kind of different type of raid event because this is where the first time where you would see basically different prizes than you would normally would. So I'll have to cover that. Also, just a heads up, the wiki on here for Japanese side does not have too much info on the fights for some reason. So unfortunately I can't really go over the normal stuff, but I do have information on the heroic fight. So there's that. But and then on top of that too, thanks to one of the event rewards, they did rework the scene system for anybody that wanted to see the like quote unquote extra scenes, and that would be the ones where you get the magic jewels from and everything. Unfortunately, it also comes with a downgrade because they implemented a new tab for any sort of skins that you have, where there's this event and another event later down the line that give you a free skin for your Kamihime. It happens to be for Amon this time. It doesn't change how she fights or anything like that. It only changes how she looks. So it is literally just a appearance change, nothing more. But you can put it with any of your other versions of Amon, just like you could if you had like more than one version of her. So for those that did manage to pull Amon Unleashed, or the fire version of her, or even the wind one which just came out, then you can put this skin on that version of Amon. You get it from the event. It's a reward instead of an SR Kamihime. But due to the fact that it also has a scene of its own that gives you magic jewels, and I'll tell you right now, if you don't like that type of stuff, you may want to hit skip button. But because of that though, what happens is that they changed the layout of that scene menu. And one of the dumb things, in my opinion, is that they took out the tab for new scenes. Meaning that anything new that pops up, you can't just immediately go to that tab. You have to literally scroll through your list of Kamihime or your Idolans or whatever and actually go find it. So if it happens to be an old character that you've long had, and then they got something like an awakening, because Daki just got an awakening, I can use her as an example. But if you like long time had somebody and then they got a new scene, like maybe you leveled them up after a long time, or they got an awakening or something, you now have to dig through all of that stuff to find it. I know it sounds dumb. So what they tried to do was add a filter for that in order to help out a little bit. You'd still have to memorize who got what. But for Nutaku, and I don't even know if it actually happened on Jorin and well, DMM Global's gone, I think. It's either Jorin or DMM Global that went down, but one of those two went down and you was able to transfer to the other. Anyways, Nutaku's side definitely has this issue where that filter does not work for the scenes. So yeah. Then on top of that, some stuff is like completely untranslated, and there's just been a few other issues. So yeah, I know it's irritating. Honestly, I'm getting a little bit tired of that crap. But the whole thing with that is that with the addition of these event skins, it changed the layout. So keep that in mind. And you do have to get this event skin now. If you missed out, you're just not going to see it again, because raid events don't repeat. So the fact that they put it behind a raid event means that you have to literally get it now or miss out, period, point blank. So me personally, I would say do this event and get that event skin, because you won't ever see it again until like, well, you might see it like a year later, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. You will see the Adon a year later though. They add raid events to Epic Quest like a year down the line. But I have no clue if you're going to get this skin or not. So that said, it's best to do it now in order to get that. But anyways, this event itself too is a wind event, so fire's got the advantage. Typical stuff. You go through the little quick storyline quests or whatever. They're super easy. Even if they had the info, I wouldn't need to explain it. But then you go into your experts, your Ragnaroks, your Ragnarok Plus, heroic again, rank 140, and they recommend 85,000 power. Now that said, you don't have to have 85,000, but you definitely want to be pretty strong for this, and I'll get into why. Because this one, I've been hearing mixed things about it, but I can kind of see why it's a rough one. So you definitely need to be able to handle this one. Now, when it comes to the event stuff, the Idolin isn't too bad. We'll go over everything she does. The event weapons, I have to point this out every single time. We've hit a point where the event weapons are going to be better than the ultimate raid weapons. So if you're still using any ultimate raid weapons, you may want to consider the event weapon. It all depends on what you have on your grid and what you may want. They will have either large defender and medium assault, or they will have medium defender and large assault. One of them's going to be large, one of them's going to be medium once you finally break the event weapon. So definitely try to get your hands on the event weapon if you have any ult weapons on your grid, because you may or may not want the free stat increase basically. Now, as for the fights itself, I can't really help too much with this because they don't have the info on here, as you can see. But if I remember correctly, Expert always has 7 to 8 million HP, somewhere around that point. Ragnarok always has somewhere around like 12 to 14 million. And then Ragnarok Plus always tends to have about 72 million, somewhere in that general area. This heroic info, ignore that because I have something that can generally explain that better. But they do give you some recommended characters for this too. So there's that. But typical stuff for your rewards. If you're really trying to get all your things, then you're definitely going to want to get that 300 and 300 so you can get the SSR guaranteed tickets, because you definitely want to rack up 10 of those in order to start getting your guaranteed SSR pools. A lot of stuff is shifting to SSR if it hasn't already. And on top of that too, we have the magic value system coming pretty soon. I know I keep mentioning it, but it definitely is pretty soon. I do believe it's at sometime around December, but I know it comes with accessory quest rank 8, which isn't too far off either. So that said, you're going to want to start leveling up every single character you can get your hands on, as well as increasing the roster in general. So keep that in mind. Up to you if you want to awaken them or not, because Dragonic guys, they aren't too hard to come by, but it is still like a slow feed, so you may or may not want to awaken every single character you get, but definitely try to at least level, like, max limit break and then level them all the way up. If you want to awaken for more points, that's up to you. I definitely would awaken the character that just got her awakening though. Daki has already been a very powerful fire character. She's definitely worth the awakening right now. But another interesting little thing too I've noticed is that the guaranteed rewards have really upped the EXP and skill spears, so you kind of want those. But if you definitely want to go over the normal point, you should grind this event far beyond your 300, because you definitely want to try and get some extra stuff from here. You can get some extra magic jewels, though it may not be a guaranteed feed. You can get extra Idolin orbs by getting copies of the Idolin. And then on top of that too, you can also get more stuff to help upgrade your characters and all that. So that's definitely something I suggest you do. Especially since this is the best Idolin orb farm point that we have in the game whenever these raid events pop up. So definitely do that. If you want to get a lot of that stuff from the Idolin orb shop, and trust me, the Kaisers are worth it. The 100% Idolins, you can hopefully get them final limit break. And then they're going to add more add-ons into there as well later on. If you want, you can even try to get the SSR break limit items from that shop. This is the best farm point for all of that. It's still going to take a while, but it is the best farm point for it. But as for the stuff you can get from the event that's SSR, this happens to be large assault and medium defender, which in my opinion has less weight than if it was a large defender instead, but it's still better than the ult rate weapon. So again, if you're using the ult rate weapon, which some people probably are, depending on what you have for your guardian weapons, then yeah, this is definitely a weapon you should have your hands on. As for the add-on herself, she raises thunder resistance. Don't underestimate this type of stuff. Whenever you use an add-on to pretty much summon a buff like that, it tends to stack with your Kamihime. And then later on, like when you're into the, I would even say Guardian raids can sometimes catch you off guard, even though they've been nerfed. But Guardian Plus definitely, and especially Malicious, you want to have a lot of different protections and all that. This can help give you a little bit more, especially since damage cut and elemental resistance is reduced. Like its effects are reduced in Malicious raids. She can help you out with that one because of the fact that it will give you more stuff to stack. Because the more damage cut you can stack, the better. If you want to fully ignore damage in a Malicious raid, you need 200% worth. So that's a lot, and it's pretty demanding. But her main effect though, it depends, because it's saying character attack here, but the main function of her main effect is to up your ability damage, and ability damage is starting to pick up quite a bit. So you may or may not want to use this until you get some like better stuff. So that said, it all depends on how far you are, but I would say she's still an early game add-on, so you may not keep her in your main slot too much. In fact, if you want somebody that's got more worthwhile, like more longevity, there's the Phantom Oach in Epic Quest. She's easily the best add-on to pretty much have for like early, even mid game. And I say mid game because the Guardian raids is where you're basically in mid game. Like once you start grinding them, when you're finished with them, that's when you're going into like end game level stuff. So she's definitely not the best one, but she has some uses. She'll definitely be in sub slots if you want that protection. That resistance definitely does help you more than you would think. Now, as for the missions, I've looked in game. For some reason it says wind for the Ragnarok solo. This says dark. And of course it wouldn't be wind versus wind. That makes no sense because they wouldn't have an element fight itself for the Ragnarok solo mission. So go with your dark characters, and that's how you solo it. Of course, expert, you need Kamihime only. You can't use your SR, your SSR, not even in sub slots. Ragnarok Plus, solo it however you can. But I do have to recommend that Thunder is at a disadvantage in this, so any Thunder mains out there that happen to be seeing this, you may or may not want to you may or may not want to try that heroic, because it's going to be pretty difficult. Speaking of which, now this is a screenshot from my Union Discord too. I can put that in the description. But the deal with this heroic, it is a huge damage race. It is a very, very damage race. Like, very, very good damage race. So, you have roughly about 350 million HP to try and go through. But there's a turn limit of 30 turns. The 31st turn, you're going to be hit with the, you're generally going to be hit with the quote-unquote fail trigger, as I call it, where you're just smacked with 100,000 damage that you can't block every single turn after that, and it's going to kill all your buffs to make sure you eat the full damage. But the thing is, this is a demanding one because you need to somehow deal 11.6 million damage every single turn. Like, not literally every single turn, but you have to average that amount of damage. Because it's about 350 million HP it has. That's a hard condition to hit. But my suggestion, if you can burst very, very frequently while still laying on the normal attack damage, this is where you definitely would want that. Now, the boss itself doesn't hit you too hard until it starts getting some buffs or whatnot, so you do want a healer. And I can immediately suggest the fire version of Dion. The fire version of Dion is just made for a lot of this type of stuff, especially since she vigor buffs while healing. But you don't have to worry about eating too much damage, so they're suggesting you go all out with like offensive characters, but still have at least one healer just in case. But one of the suggested characters on this list too also gives you some defensive buffing, so there's that. But normal mode, it'll basically hit you 3 times when it's at full orbs randomly, and it puts a special debuff. If you're triple attacking, don't even worry about the debuff. Raging, it will put the Raging, it will do AoE, so be careful of that. And it puts attack up on herself. If you have somebody that can remove buffs, then you're already good to go. The issue is that debuff it puts on you. If you are not using triple attack to remove it, it's going to reduce the damage you deal, and it stacks. So, essentially, you want to be able to take that off of you. Do lots of triple attacks. Then on top of that too, every 5 turns it's going to deal AoE damage and reduce your combo rate generally. You do want to have some sort of protection for that. So that's why I would suggest at least having somebody that can cleanse or just block it. If you're using, I would say 2 of the 3 recommended souls that they have down here, then you probably want to put in your EX slot the Maiden's Prayer, because it will get rid of a lot of these. You don't want your combo rate reduced, because you want your combo rate to be high, you want your burst gauge fill to be high, you want to just unload. But at 80% HP, it puts a combo rate boost on itself. You should be able to remove this, though, by the looks of it. But at half HP, it's going to be permanent. So that's when it's going to do that's when it's going to start putting the special debuff on the targeted characters whenever you get smacked at half HP. So it's going to be a lot more frequent. And then 30% HP is going to put spread on itself, and still has that. So when the spread is on itself and that normal attack debuff is hitting you, you really have to be careful. Make sure you can guarantee triple attack or something. So you do want to do lots of triple attacks in order to get rid of that stuff. So be very, very careful of this. This fight is just mainly just pure damage race. Even dealing out damage through normal attacks is going to help you out with this stuff. Now, the recommended souls, they say Paracelsus, because she's the combo rate one, the normal attack soul, so having her is definitely going to help you out. Or you can go Hector if you want to try and unload a crap ton of damage during raging. Yurimitsu is also suggested because if you have a lot of burst focus stuff, she's really going to help you out. In fact, I happen to have her fire weapon. I might end up trying with her. But if she doesn't work, I got Paracelsus anyways. But I would also suggest Caspar, because that buff is going to help you out a lot. It is a stinger buff with a lot of double attack and triple attack in there. It can stay up for most of the fight once her snatch gets going. So if you can get the stacks to Nan for her snatch ability, then that buff is going to greatly help you. Don't underestimate Caspar. That's all I can say for that one. Plus, she also comes with the added bonus where she can give you a crap ton of attack and defense down. She can even do the full defense down by herself if you stack the ability where she just can hit every single turn with that. So you may want to consider Caspar if you don't have too much on the debuffing, because you definitely want to try and hit that 50% defense down. That is a must. Now, for characters, they're suggesting the Awakened version of Daki, of course. She already had a wind resistance, which is the reason why I mentioned that. Like, you wouldn't really need too much protection if you're using her. She has a wind resistance. She gives you a lot of normal attack boosting. Her combo rate buff even comes with a drain, so you're getting healed while you're doing that. So, she's just all around good. The Awakening just does that even better. Now, Mars, another one that's also had a pretty solid Awakening. She can nuke quite a bit, and then on top of that too, I do believe she has a buff removal. So there's that. Her main function is to give you some more defense down too, which she can cast pretty frequently as well, so it should stay up the entire fight. The fire version of the Yawn, I don't need to say much more. I've already said what I needed to with her. Healing, vigor buff, gonna help you out. The fire version of Barith is also pretty good too. I forgot exactly what she does, but I know she's pretty strong for this type of stuff, and she definitely is a damage dealer. If you have the fire version of the limited Kamihime, definitely take her. She can put up quite a bit of damage while giving a permanent normal attack resistance decrease, meaning towards normal attacks you will have 70% defense down, not 50. This does stack outside of that. So there's that. Haruhi's also suggested here too, if you have her. She does tend to push a lot of triple attacking, so I can see why. They have Fire Soul listed here, and she's also pretty good too. But another one that can also take her spot for that is also the fire version of Artemis, because Fire Artemis comes with some debuff resistance, which means you won't have to worry about your combo rate getting reduced too easily. And then on top of that, she still manages to keep up on the healing and all that too. Fire version of Neptune is also pretty solid as well, like as a sub character. Main, she's decent. So fire version of Neptune's not too bad. Another one they don't have on here for some reason, the character that just came out, fire version of Vishnu. Vishnu will burst extraordinarily frequently. She is a very, very powerful burst character. If you happen to pull her from this banner, definitely use her. She is strong. Very, very strong. And she will make this heroic a lot easier, considering that she will burst she bursts so frequently where it'll not only lay on damage, and I do believe it goes up to 4 million too, but she'll not only lay on damage, but also speed everybody else up because she's bursting so much. So, fire version of Vishnu, definitely use her. Another character I can also suggest too is bringing out the fire version of Mammon as well, because of the fact that when she starts going, she starts filling up everybody else and giving stinger buffs and all that type of stuff too. So if you don't feel like using Caspar for some reason, she can also help you out with stinger buffing as well. And it goes without saying, the fire version of Amon should also be considered as well, because again, another solid damage dealer, can buff your team pretty nicely. Her rework is also giving her some very nice credit. And my own personal suggestion could also be the fire version of, like, the awakened version of Akala. Not the normal one, the awakening one. If you don't have her awakened, don't worry about it. Awakening Akala, she can do rage punishes at will. That's going to give you a lot of free damage. So keep that in mind. Especially if you somehow can stack a rage punish with, say, a Bayako buff if you happen to have her. Then that one single turn can weigh on so much damage and could possibly save you if you're falling behind that threshold of averaging 11 million a turn. Like about 11, 12 million a turn. So that can really help you out. But because of that threshold, I don't expect your normal attack damage to really hit that much unless you've done basically all your fire malicious stuff grinding. But you can still burst for like 18 million easily. So that's why I say if you can frequently burst, you're going to hit that pretty easily, because 10 bursts at that cap is already like 180 million, and that's almost half the turn limit anyways. It's like 1/3 of the turn limit. So if you got a frequent enough burst team, you probably could still make this. So that's another reason why Exceed suggested, especially you already mentioned, she's like the queen of burst. But basically you're trying to dig up any characters that you got for damage dealing as well. Like I said, Amon, Artemis, Vishnu, Awakened Akala, not normal. Like, there's quite a few characters that can do that. Mammon. You may even get some uses out of who was it? The awakened version of Yamaraja, because she can also do some she can do some decent damage, but she's mainly there to help you debuff while also giving you some protection against the combo rate down. You do not want that combo rate down, because trust me when I say this, you want to do as much as you can. That stuff will interfere with you. But again, this heroic is demanding quite a lot of damage from you, so my suggestion, don't even consider trying it unless you have at least started fire malicious. Like, you don't necessarily have to have that grid finished, but if you're taking on fire malicious, like any of the malicious raids, then consider trying to get some stuff from that, or at least getting some Final Break 2 level stuff like the 5th star. But if you can dish out quite a bit of damage in a short time for the win malicious, then you're in a good spot for this. So keep that in mind. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this will come soon, and I'm going to try this heroic, but I don't necessarily know if I'll clear it, because I'm a little bit behind on my grids because I haven't played as often as I used to. So I'm a little bit behind on my grinding. I do have one 5-star weapon for fire, but that's basically it. But I do have a lot of powerful characters. I'm even leveling up Daki Awakened so I can use her too. So I'll give it a shot, because fire does happen to be my second strongest damage dealer. So we'll see about that one. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this will come soon, and take care.